Beloved ones, welcome to day 11. And it's interesting that our guest today is Sherri Richards, and her title is The Divine Rhythm of Life. And I'm so happy to welcome Sherri. Hello, Sherri.
Hello, Dr. Kimberly. It's such a treat to be here.
Oh, thank you. So, we just finished our rosary reading. It went way over, and the reason it did was because we were blessed with a visit from Metatron who reminded me of the story of creation as I know it. And so at the beginning, I told that story of creation. Yesterday, with I can't remember who was yesterday, I'm not in that part of my brain. Yesterday, with our beloved guest, the question came up, what's the difference between, of course, I see her face now. Our beloved Reverend Bonnie McCulley. We asked the question, what was the difference between soul and spirit? And this opened up this dialogue of, in our spiritual anatomy, what is the difference? And so Metatron answered that question for us this morning, telling the story of creation from the very beginning of what we could see as the Big Bang here in human evolution. And the reason why this is so interesting that it brings us into the divine rhythm of life is as these pulses of creation came forward from the source, from the divine, from the throne of the Most High, they went through many different differentiations as different aspects of divine love were birthed into creation. Down to us human beings, down through our soul, our true self, the birth of our true self, our eternal self, into the Holy Christ presence, into our souls, and into us, our human being here on earth. And so for us, angel mystics, so for us, spiritual beings here on earth, the rhythm, the divine rhythm of life, tuning into the divine rhythm of life is so important for us. And this is so much at the heart of what we're doing in this Angel Mystic Lifestyle Summit. Because I am at this moment re-exploring how to support my physical body living on the earth. How do I prepare to go to sleep at night? How do I wake up in the morning? How do I know what to feed this precious, delicate body? How do I know when to meditate, how to be open to receive, how to live in the divine rhythm of daily life that best supports the high functioning of my analytical mind, my emotions, my divine higher consciousness, and my physical body, all indwelling, all embodied simultaneously. Whew. That's what we're doing in this 31 days. And each one of our guests is bringing us a very precious piece in this divine rhythm of life. And I am so very happy to welcome Sherri because she has a more grounded, more physical perspective on this that we need. And right now I'm so high in my physical, my light body, I hardly know that I have feet. I hardly know I'm sitting in my chair, but as I'm telling this story, I'm coming back. I can see better now. I was just seeing light. I'm feeling my chair. I can see my legs. Oh, look at that. I can feel my feet on the floor. Happy day. Okay. We're getting here. So grounding is so important. And yesterday, our beloved Reverend Bonnie did a wonderful grounding meditation for us. So you can always go back to that. And also, let's see, grounding. On day 2, Reverend Lynn did a wonderful grounding meditation for us. And on day 5, Megan Burford did an amazing chakra meditation. So we have those beautiful resources. So here I am setting the framework for you, Sherri. And I am just so absolutely delighted to welcome you. Hello, beloved
Oh,
Sherri.
oh, thank you. Thank you. I am wondering if maybe we shouldn't do just a brief breath, um, just to get into our bodies. And this is what I do with my students because they come racing into class and they're all over the place. We're all over the place. So I'm going to ask you to plant your feet flat on the floor, sit up straight, close your eyes, and we're just going to do 3 4-part breaths, breathing. So we're going to breathe in for 4, hold for 4, 2, 3, 4, and out for 4. Breathe in for 4, hold for 4, breathe out for 4, hold for 4. Last one, breathe in, 2, 3, 4, hold for 4, 2, 3, 4, out for 4, 2, 3, 4, hold for 4, 2, 3, 4. Now open your eyes.
Oh, thank
So
you,
that
Sherri. Thank,
hopefully that helped us find our bodies again.
thank you. Thank you.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. Thank
um,
you. I'm back in my feet.
back in your feet, right, right, and that is it's one of the things I've learned in going through the Good Fat Life process, which I might talk about for a minute, is how important it is to be aware of our bodies because, like Dr. Kimberly said, I spent a lot of time in my head and didn't really know much about my body. And a couple years ago, I'll give you the very brief version. Um, I was working with a colleague on nutrition, and we had a doctor in our group. There were 3 of us, and we were working together on developing a product that was around good fat, because the chiropractic is a chiropractor nutritionist, and what he found, he was seeing like 500 people a day in his practice. I'm sorry, a week in his practice, and he said so many of them were not eating good fat, and so they were having all kinds of issues. And so we were looking to create a good fat snack that was portable, because I mean, many of you know that an avocado or olive oil are good fats, but they're not easily transportable. So we were looking to make a good fat snack, and we did. We did tons of research. We sourced the best cacao um, uh, butter on the planet to make these good fat snacks out of, and they're still available. They're called Good Fat. It's the Good Fat Company. Um, and what I found, though, is the snack was great, but people wanted information. They're like, okay, so what kind of fat do I eat, and how much fat do I eat? And what I found is it's very different depending upon your particular body. And there's many people who, swear by meat. They're meat eaters. And there's other people who are plant eaters only. And there can be a lot of conflicting research and information around what's the right thing, how should I eat? And the answer I will give you based on my research and my personal experience is it depends on your body. And the only way you really can know these things is by listening to our body and being grounded in our body. And so I think that's where Dr. Kimberly had asked me to participate in this so that we could have some practicalness around our body. So,
Absolutely, yes. So you were telling me that you are doing a mini workshop, a Friday evening where you're teaching people how to prepare to sleep at night.
right.
And you were telling me about the essences and um, the different practices that you were doing with that. And then Saturday, you're talking about how to wake up in the morning to feel energized and focused and grounded to go about your day, again with some different practices. And as you were describing that to me, I thought, I want that. If I was in Chicago, I'd go.
I'm in Detroit, but
Detroit, oh,
yeah,
Detroit.
exactly.
If I
Yeah.
was in Detroit, I'd go.
I'd go, yeah, great. Well, we would love to have you. But yes, we are. And it's been interesting as I talk about this, is that even my college students are as interested as my friends that are, in seniors, um, because we just often don't know, and it's not something that we're taught. So there are, we'll start with sleepy sweet dreams. We call it sweet dreams. And so there's a number of things, and I'm sure that many of you have read, things to do to calm down and have a nice sleep. But here again, I will tell you is that people are different. My husband and my kids, you turn the TV on for them at night and they fall asleep. And but all of the research says don't have any blue light in your life. It will keep you awake. So I always say everything with take the suggestions and see what works for you. Because again, we're all different. But in our Sweet Dreams workshop, what we'll be doing is we will be having a yoga nidra session. And are any of you familiar with yoga nidra? And yoga nidra is a form of meditation, and it's my favorite form of meditation because it's my favorite form of yoga because it is laying in the corpse pose, right? So you are laying comfortably, um, and you're laying comfortably, and there's a very structured process that it goes through, but it actually can take you to a deeper sleep or a deeper place of relaxation than sleep. And so one of the things I discovered it because I was waking up at 3 in the morning, and my brain would just, I'd have a hard time going back to sleep. And so I have Insight Timer. There's lots of meditations on that. They're free. And I was just checking it out. So Yoga Nidra, what it does is it helps us, it addresses our nervous system. And it's the autonomic nervous system. And those are the things that take place in our body without our conscious effort, right? So it's our heartbeat, our breathing, and our digestion, and our blood flow. And so when we do a yoga nidra practice, it just literally calms your nervous system, and it takes your body through and your mind through a process. And it's very, I will say, choreographed and but different practitioners will have their own blend of it. But it just calms you down into a state where you don't have to worry, oh my gosh, I'm not getting to sleep. I'm going to wake up morning is going to be here. I'm going to be stressed out because I didn't get enough rest. But when you do a yoga nidra, you're getting rest. So that's one of the things we'll be doing in our Sweet Dreams. Another thing we'll be doing is working with scents, aromatherapy. And I'm not an expert in aromatherapy, but my colleagues who are, they're very familiar, and they will be teaching us about the different smells that, again, calm our nervous system down and put us into a relaxed state. I mean, we all know lavender works really well for relaxation. But if we go back to, what being in our bodies are very sensory, right? And we were designed very deliberately to use our senses to calm ourselves down, go into sweet dreams, and also to wake ourselves up. Um, it's there's no accidents here. And another thing with yoga nidra that I had learned that I didn't really understand is how important nighttime is. Nighttime is not just the absence of light. During the night, all these things are happening in the atmosphere, right? In the absence of the daylight, and it affects our bodies, and they're called circadian rhythms, in ways that are extremely powerful. When we can tap into what our bodies, how our bodies were designed, and how nature shows up. So there's a sweetness to the dark, a real, what I want to say, a powerful presence in the dark that we don't have in the day. And so if we wake up during the night or as we're going to sleep or getting ready to go to sleep, if we can just say those little gratitudes and tap into what's happening, um, what's happening in the darkness, it's magical, right? It's so that's those are a couple of things that we'll be doing. And then also with food. So I'm working with a functional nutritionist, and one of the things that we're exploring is how food and diet affects our rhythms. And we're going to talk a little bit more about our body clocks, and from the different perspective, from Ayurveda, the Indian perspective, the Chinese perspective, because those are all important as well. But with the food, like my nutritionist is having me eat a high fat snack, like she calls them a fat pill, a teaspoon of like cacao butter or cashew butter or almond butter, a tablespoon of it at 8:30 at night. And there's a couple things that we're trying. Is it it's going to keep me from doing the snacking that I want to do at 9:30 at night, the crunchy, salty, but it also blends in with how our blood sugars are working during the night and can really contribute to having a nice, deep, restful sleep by keeping our blood sugar stable. So I'm working through that one now, Dr. Kimley. It's
Oh,
a
beautiful.
TBD. It's a journey, right?
It is. It is. Oh, Sherri, this is so wonderful. I love this depth of information that you bring forward. So, speaking of that circadian rhythm and speaking of our body clock, not only do we have the day and night rhythm, but we also have seasonal rhythms, and we have the dawn and the dusk rhythms. So we have all these other divine rhythms going on that we can tap into. So it's dawn that begins to wake us up. Like I wake up, the sun wakes me up in the morning. And when it gets dark at night and at dusk, I start to feel tired. And it's been so interesting living here in the Pacific Northwest because in the summer it doesn't get dark until 10 o'clock at night. And so the first couple years, I see nodding heads,
Mm,
by the first couple years at 8 o'clock at night, we would be getting agitated and irritated a little bit. And I'd think it's 5 o'clock. And we'd look at a clock and we'd realize, oh my God, it's 8 or 9. Sometimes, I'm still thinking it's 4 or 5 o'clock because it's still fully light
because of the light, right?
because of the light. And it's the same in the winter. We laugh that by 6 o'clock in the winter it feels like it's midnight because it's already been dark for 2.5 hours here. I see heads nodding.
Right. Yep.
And so the dawn and the dusk. Let's talk about that first. The dawn and the dusk. How can we be more tuned in to what's happening in our circadian rhythm in the dawn and the dusk?
Well, there's something that I want to say before we talk about. You're absolutely right. It's the light. It's the light that triggers the chemical releases in our body, and it's through our eyes that comes. And but but it's going to be different depending upon what age we are. We all know that babies' rhythm is different than a teenager's, whose rhythm is different than an adult's. And when we kind of understand that, it makes us kind of like what you were just saying. When you understand what's happening, it makes you calm down and just go, oh, that's all that's different, is that my teenagers who won't get up in the morning and who have such a hard time doing these things, their circadian rhythms are different, and they're for all of us as we age. And so I just want to kind of like put that out there, because some of this depends. And there's a lot of research that says that if we can go outside, if we can just be outside before 10 a.m. in the morning and get the full rays of the sunlight, and if possible, have bare feet on the earth, that's a wonderful way to kind of honor the rhythm of the day. And then it's going to also change with the season, right? So you're going to go out and so as the light's coming in the morning, it's waking us up. And there's a number of different, I'm just looking for a little bit of my notes. There's a number of charts, I guess, if you want to research those, about what's happening in your body during the different times. Like in the Chinese world, everything's broken down into two hours. And so your body goes through a 12-hour rhythm every 2 hours. And then in the seasons, and I have to just be fully transparent here. This is a learning process for me too.
Yeah.
I'm as I learn more, I'm interested to know more.
Mm-hmm.
And so the seasons, and how do people, like in the places like Alaska, or where it stays late longer, how does their body pattern work? I'm not sure. It's something to learn. But I know then in the evening, when dusk happens and it gets starting to get darker, our bodies are starting to release melatonin, and different things are happening, which is saying, oh, it's getting darker, it's time to calm down and to get into a sleep mode. And so the seasons, and that's why when the seasons are shifting, our bodies are shifting, our moods are shifting. And there's rituals that we can do to honor that.
Oh, beautiful. Oh, beautiful. We're coming up to the fall equinox in a few days, I think. I've been so full of the
Yeah.
summit, I
Yeah.
haven't had a chance to check, but I think we're coming up to the fall equinox pretty soon. And are you doing some kind of a celebration for that, Sherry? Sorry to jump in here.
No, I'm
Okay.
laughing. I'm laughing because I've been so focused on the retreat, and and the new magazine that's going to the printer tomorrow, and then a couple of things that is like, oh yes, it's coming up. What does that look like, right? So I don't know, Dr. Kimberly. I just don't know.
Oh, I'm actually really excited for that new issue of your magazine because I subscribed. And
I
I
saw that.
wasn't sure
Thank you.
when I was going to get that first subscription. It's a print, it's paper. You actually get paper. I love that.
Yeah,
So I've
it's
been
it
starting to watch my mailbox. So now I know maybe next week.
next week. Yep, yep.
Next week.
It will happen. And this is, the whole thing with the magazine has been, I will just say, it's been a journey. It started with good fat, the importance of good fat in our day. And it's learning these things. I was in my head most of my life. I didn't understand how many things are available to us to support the inner workings of the clocks of our bodies, as well as the transition of seasons, and to really honor them. And so it's been a learning process.
Well, I want to talk a little bit more about why you were in your head most of your life. And that's because, well, first of all, you're just brilliant.
You're way too kind, but thank you.
And oh, it's the truth. It's the truth. The more I talk to you and get to know you, the more amazed I am at your brilliance. And that brilliance happens to come in the area of finance. And so you have worked for many years understanding the monetary markets, understanding finance, and that is the realm of our, here we are back to our spiritual anatomy, our lower analytical mind. And so when you're working in that lower analytical mind, it takes over it takes over our perspective because it's important for it to be able to hold that focus. And so when you're focused on finance, when we're learning new computer programs, when we're analyzing stuff, that's the realm of our analytical brain. And it does that so beautifully. And so you, Sherri, have been through so much. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your journey through corporate life and into your consulting business?
Um, sure. I, like many, I was raised with you go to school, you go to college, you get a job, a career, and that's what you do. You get married, you raise your children, um and I did those things, and I loved business. I loved the business of business. And but and then in my mid 30s, I found I uh didn't feel well. I was in horrible pain. Um and and it was meditation. I was told that I was going to have to live with this pain for the rest of my life. And I'm like, well, I won't say the words I actually said, but it's like, no, that's not going to happen. There has to be something better. And as the universe does, we moved from Oregon to the Midwest to Ohio, and I met this wonderful woman who was knitting at a hockey practice. My youngest son played hockey, and I'm like, I have to meet her. And she
Do you
introduced,
knit?
huh?
Do you knit? Do you
Uh,
knit?
oh yes, absolutely.
Oh, I'm a
I
knitter.
love
Okay,
I
hockey
love
practice
knitting.
knitter.
Yes,
Okay, we're
hockey
all in
knitters,
alignment
but
here.
it's kind of like that was a creative outlet. But the long and short of it was, she introduced me to the world of meditation. And when I learned to meditate, I learned there was a whole big world out there. And one thing led to the next. I discovered dance. A part of our wake up program is movement. How do we move in a way that really honors our bodies and support our bodies? Because, that is critical, that we get a good movement in every day. Um, and my nutritionist will tell you a bowel movement is as important as movement, but it's all movement, right? Um, and they do support each other. So that said, um, I realized when I started taking movement classes that I was in my head. I didn't really know how they would ask questions like, how are you feeling? And how does your body feel? How does this feel? And I would be, I don't have a clue. My head, it would be a head answer, not a heart answer. So I started learning Nia, which is a form of dance. I love to dance. If you ask me about exercise, I would rather sit and read, knit. So, do anything that sits, then move. But I did love to dance, and I found um, that it moved me to the next level. So, that's as part of Good Fat Life. I kind of told you how that came about. Actually, Good Fat Life came about because we were going to a conference with our Good Fat Snacks in San Diego with 400 chiropractors and nutritionists and doctors in the wellness realm. And the conference was around diet and nutrition, and good fat was part of the discussion. And I always like to buy a magazine before I get on the airplane. And I couldn't find anything I liked. I just found that the magazines that were available were incongruent. It might be talking about health and wellness, and then they had Coke was an advertiser, or a recipe that was full of ingredients that didn't support our bodies, or products that were full of high fructose corn syrup. And I heard this voice in my head. It was like my grandfather saying, "Start a magazine." So, so here we are.
I love that. I love how you receive the inspiration and you take action on it. Start a magazine. Okay.
Start a magazine. So here we are. And I have to say it's been, this is one of the things I love about working with you, Dr. Kimberly, is that the angels, as I'm learning about the angels, there's so much guidance coming in, but it's not all, a lot of it is practical. It's find a way to move that you love, because moving is so important to the quality of your life here on earth. And the quality of life here on earth allows us to do all these wonderful things that we came in to do and are being guided to do, but we really have to take care of this instrument that's our body. So
I love how the magazine, in a sense, gives you an excuse to learn and try all kinds of new things. So as we've been talking, I just get so inspired when you tell me, oh yes, I'm trying ecstatic dance, and I work on a Pilates reformer, and then there's the Nia, and there was something else.
so and this is true because of understand, because as I'm learning to understand how important it is to move on a regular basis. And I even set a watch now because I can get so into my head I forget what time it is, how long I've been sitting, to get up and even run up and down the stairs. Or my husband and I just have started taking a 10-minute walk after we eat, because there's so much science around how just that movement changes your blood sugars in your body and aids your digestion. And we haven't even got into, gut health um, and the microbiomes and probiotics and prebiotics. But there's so many things that we can do. And if you do them in the rhythm of your day, it's like you get supercharged, because you want to be doing things to wake your body up in the morning, and noon, up until like 2, and then start doing things to help your body settle down after that. Right. And when you know it, it's just so much easier to do. So this is kind of my journey, is to really start studying these things. And when I was saying about, like, with the Chinese medicine, the Chinese traditional medicine, there's a 24-hour chart that's just fascinating. And it says, like, at 1 a.m., our bodies are detoxing our liver. And there's also, it's detoxing our blood.
I
And
was actually on a diet where a healing diet when I was almost dead that my nutritional consultant put me on, where I had to set a timer for 1 o'clock in the morning and sit up, and there was a particular drink, a particular shake that I was supposed to drink in order to support that liver detox in the middle of
mm,
the night, and then drink that and then go back to sleep. So that happened to be really high fat.
right, which is fascinating, right? We've had that conversation of
Yeah.
how high fat really, really literally changed your life.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay. So
Uh,
so
so-
that 24-hour clock, 1 o'clock
right,
in the morning.
right. So it's, and I won't go through the whole thing, but for anybody who's interested, you can Google the Chinese circadian rhythm, and they have beautiful charts out there that show when different things are happening during that 24 hours. And it's not all just physical, it can be emotional as well. So it can give you clues. Our bodies are talking to us all day long, right? They talk to us 24/7, and we get to decide if we want to listen or not. And I've found that with by studying the Chinese traditional medicine circadian rhythm, and then the Ayurvedic, the Indians methods, and you'll have some, they have cycles on how the body moves through its rhythm. And a lot of it is very similar. That's similar. And it's just things that we know, that we learn about ourselves.
Catherine is so on top of it here. She put a link into the chat for the Chinese body
Oh,
clock. Thank you so much, Catherine.
yeah,
Looks like
thank
she's
you.
working on something else for us there. Catherine, you are just awesome. Love you.
Thank you. And you know, the other part of that is our temperature. Our body temperature makes a difference,
Mhm.
right? And so our body is heating up and cooling off all day long, and that's all part of providing the resources for us to digest our food, or for movement, when the best times for movement are. Um, and so, you know, I apologize if I'm a little all over the board. It's just so exciting for me, and there's so many pieces. It's like how to bring it in so that it's simple, because um, it it is and it isn't, right?
So Dr. Valerie is saying, and I want to thank Dr. Valerie for introducing me to Sherri. Dr. Valerie is such a wonderful friend. She says, "Thank you for the juicy, delicious goodness of this conversation. I've arrived at archery practice, so I'm off to get my Sunday fun day movement in blessings and gratitude." Oh, thank you, Dr. Valerie.
Yeah.
Enjoy your archery practice. Oh,
And
beautiful.
and and that she's bringing up something that is so important to this, right? Is finding that I recently discovered Pilates. Well, I had done Pilates years ago, but I had a situation where um, my leg failed me. I was on vacation and I was doing too much, and my left leg stopped working, and I'm like, what the heck, right? So I
Yikes.
went to my chiropractor, and he sent me to a, physical therapist who's just brilliant. And she told me that my ribs, or on my core, that I had not been doing enough core development, and it was kind of a ticking time bomb. So I had overused my leg muscles, and my core wasn't able to support where it needed to. And so she said, you might not have noticed this for 10 years, but by the time you noticed it, it could have been too late. So so the other part that I'm learning too is, that's part of all this, is that if we can find a kind of movement that we love, right? So Dr. Valerie loves archery. It doesn't matter what it is, but it needs to be bringing in our muscles in a bigger way. And as we age, we tend to walk, but we don't build strength in our muscles. Um, and Pilates, which I have discovered, I've fallen in love with. So I'm doing Pilates now. But I tell you, I'm waking up at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, like when the sun is coming up, ready to go in ways I never have, because my body's stronger than it's been in areas that it's not been stronger in. So it's fascinating how our bodies, when we work with them the way they were intended, how they show up.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. So I want a chart now.
I know, I know. So maybe that's something that we work on with with the PhD process, is how
Yeah.
can we capture this and chart this?
I want a
Um,
chart to help me refresh because I'm 65 now, almost 66, and my body is changing so fast it's hard for me to keep up with it. I see big smiles. And yeah.
yeah, yeah, I'm seeing some. I love Pilates and yoga. It's like, who knew? And just the pure joy of when our bodies are getting what they need, right? We
I,
just
I
feel good.
I remember when I was in my 20s, I was taking a modern dance class. And I'm not a dancer. I was just doing it because I loved it and it felt good. So I wasn't a good dancer, but I enjoyed it. It was fun for me. And I remember there was one day we were on this. We had this big dance loft with this huge wooden floor where we would do a class, and she had us pirouetting on a. We weren't wasn't ballet, so we weren't up on point or anything, but we were pirouetting around across the floor, moving across the room. And I felt such ecstatic joy moving like that.
So you bring up, there's a couple of the ecstatic dance.
Hmm.
And so I had done some when I was younger, and it was horribly uncomfortable for me because I was so into my head that to move ecstatic dance, for those of you who aren't familiar, is where you go into a space and there's music, and it's wonderful music. It's it's bring you up and high energy and then down, and then followed by a check in and a check out. Um, but everybody's moving to the way that their body feels like it should want to move. And when I first started, I was so uncomfortable because it was, I didn't know how to move in my body just to let my body move. But our bodies want to move, right? So there's a woman in town who now has ecstatic um, classes. They're not even classes or workshops. And I went a couple weeks ago, and um, I said, I'm so tired. My brain is just tired. I'm just going to lay here and listen to the music. Is that okay? She's like, Absolutely. It's your dance. Right. Um, and when I got in and the music started, my brain was like, my body was like, well, brain, you go check out, do what you want to do, but we're moving because we want to move. And damn, if I didn't move, I mean, sometimes just wildly at for 90 minutes, because our bodies know, but our brains, we let our brains talk our bodies out of things.
Oh, Catherine is so wonderful. She put a link to a wiki on ecstatic dance for us, and we also have a link for Ayurvedic circadian rhythms for how to shape your day by the Ayurvedic circadian rhythms, the longevity lifestyle. Oh, really cool. According to ancient wisdom,
Right,
fabulous. Thank you, Catherine.
right. And,
So,
and
yeah.
and there's not a lot, there's not a lot of research in the Western medicine around how this works. It's more in um, other other countries that have it.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. So, if you have questions or you want to share something, please start out in the chat and let us ask your questions for Sherri, and or share. If you have a contribution, share your wisdom. Oh, Sherri, I'm just so excited. So I'm having to remember breathe, simmer down, breathe. We're coming into fall, and here in the Pacific Northwest, fall is in full swing. It's already colder. It's getting dark at 8:30 at night instead of 10. It's so early. It's getting dark, it feels like. It's not getting light in the morning until 6 o'clock instead of 4:15. So the days are shortening. It's changing how I feel during the day, and the wind is blowing. It's cooler, and we're getting more cloudy skies, although we have clarity today. So the weather is helping us,
Mm.
the change in weather is helping us go from full out summer, um, build your winter food supply. Get strong, get healthy, build your winter food supply into the days are getting shorter. There's some urgency to get ready for the cold, long, dark winter that where we hibernate. And here where I live, we've had occasion where we've been snowed into our house for over a week. So there is some urgency to actually start to um, make sure we have our supplies for the winter, to make sure our roof is good. We have a roof issue we need to tend to. So, all of these fall seasonal things, getting our yard and my greenhouse ready to go into the fall. What is your wisdom on how we're using the fall to prepare for? Um, I like to think of the winter as our um, inward hibernating time of inner development. How is your experience working with the fall season here?
It's, let's see, I'm finding my words. It's a transition, right?
Yeah.
So if we go from summer, where it's high energy, lots of light, lots of movement, um, abundance in fruits and vegetables, right? There's all kinds of foods, and and then we're going into winter. if you can think of it as fall as the transition, we're transitioning into winter, right? And you said it, we're preparing for the winter. But I also would ask you to think of it as notice what's happening, right? So notice that the days are shorter, but we still want to get our movement in. We still want to get our good fats in, our good foods in, but it's going to change. And so kind of be mindful of that. So like you said, so when we transition into winter, we have our foods ready. We have, I'm just learning about good snacks, good fat snacks like kale snacks and um, pumpkin seeds, activated pumpkin seeds, having those snacks. So we're getting ready to have those things available for the winter when it's cold and dark and gray. But it also can be a wonderful time. The winter and the cold, the hibernation can also be a wonderful time to while we're going in, but still, how do we want to move in the winter that supports us, right? We don't want to just kind of completely, we're not bears. We don't completely shut down, right? We need to still doing movements and having activities and eating foods that support us during those times. So I think it's an awareness, Dr. Kimberly, an awareness of kind of what's coming and how do we prepare for that?
Oh, beautifully said, beautifully said. So, Joel has a great question. I love Joel's questions. He says, "Thank you so much. This has been really wonderful. I wondered if you might have any suggestions about how we might shift our circadian rhythm if we are waking up earlier than we would like to."
And I'm going to it, interpret this as waking up earlier than you like to because of maybe a work. You have to be at work early, so you have to set an alarm. Um, and there's those alarm clocks that are provide like a sunlight environment. So you're waking up to light rather than to a jarring sound. So to do things, the circadian rhythms are all about light. And so if we can do a natural light, that might be a suggestion to look into that.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. And if Joel, if you're just waking up, as we how do I want to
Oh,
say this? Yeah. As we come through different phases of our life, we need less sleep. Like Sherri was saying, that as you discovered movement, as your body's getting stronger, you're waking up earlier and you're discovering you need less sleep.
I because my body's more efficient
Yeah.
in how it's using its energy. And one other thing I might suggest, Jonathan, is that if you're waking up earlier than you would like to, because you're naturally doing it, if you're feeling refreshed and ready to go, that's awesome. That's great. But if you're not quite there, you might check out the Chinese circadian rhythm and see what it's saying. So say you were waking up at 5 in the morning, it could be that there's something going on with your large intestines, or something energetically that's there that you can read in those wheels that could give you some clues. So this is kind of like a adventure in the sense of looking for clues.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Oh, lovely. This is so helpful. So helpful. Thank you. Jonathan says, okay, thank you. Let's see. Jonathan has a question. Jonathan, do you want to come on and ask your question? Oh, that was Jonathan that asked that
Yeah.
question. I'm sorry. I was thinking it was, excuse me, I thought it was Joel. Jonathan, thank you for that great question. Um, any other questions? If you'd like, you can raise your hand or you can just unmute and speak. Oh, Catherine. Yes, Catherine.
I don't usually talk, but I just love the subject that you're talking about, and I've been looking a lot into the gut biome and the connection with mood,
Mm.
especially since I moved from the San Francisco Bay Area up to Washington. And I had a really hard time adjusting, to the weather. It was, it was really difficult for me.
I understand that totally, Catherine. Um, and there's so many things, right? I mean, the food's different, the weather's different, the smells are different. Um, the and the microbiome, I mean, that's worthy of a whole, you know,
Yeah.
that's a whole nother topic in and of
Right.
itself, right? But when we moved from Portland to the Cleveland area, it was a 3-hour time zone change. And that literally took me 6 months for my body to make that adjustment. It was such a difficult uh, process. And fortunately, since I understood some of this, I didn't get stressed by it. It was, how can I honor and nurture my body as it's making this transition? And I think I really found that with the yoga nidra. When I was waking up in the middle of the night and I couldn't go back to sleep, I would get stressed by it. It would be like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be tired tomorrow because I didn't get a good night's sleep. And what I learned with yoga nidra, it's like, oh my gosh. And in fact, I would call it almost mind candy. It's like, I hope I wake up so I can do a yoga nidra in the middle of the night because it's so delightful. So
Beautiful, beautiful. Does that help, Catherine?
Yes, well, the reason I'm looking into the nutrition aspect so much in the gut biome is because I've been seeing a lot about the connection with that and depression. And I was aware that the weather in Washington was really going to affect me after living in California for most of my life. So I'm just really amazed about our body and everything that it can do if we take good care of it.
there, Catherine, and the light, there's a lot that's written about, SADS and with the winter depression because of the lack of light. There is a lot written about that on the impact of our mental health and well-being when we lose a light like that. So you might do some research around having some different kinds of lights in your house and turning them on and just seeing if that makes
I
a difference for
actually
you.
have
That
You
I
have
help?
one
actually
there?
have a special light
You have
on
the
right
light panel.
now.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a little sunny, but the special light really does help,
Oh, good.
especially when it's overcast. Thanks.
Yeah, good.
When I first moved here, my friend from New York said, "Don't even wait to find out if you get seasonal affective disorder." She said, "Get 5,000 lumen light bulbs." And so I went and I bought this ridiculous light fixture. It's it's huge. Let me show you this because it's just so much fun. Let's see. And this
You're
I
just
don't even know half the time when it gets dark. So this light fixture has 5 globes. It's up over my head, and I have 5,000 lumen daylight light bulbs in it, and it it keeps me happy and feeling illumined.
That's awesome.
So, 5,000 lumen light bulbs.
There you go. And kudos to you for noticing that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And taking that step.
And those light panels that you just described, Catherine, those light panels are awesome. I've looked at those too. Yeah, yeah, yep, that's it.
One of the things, oh, there you go.
Yep.
You had a couple little life hacks I wanted to share
Mm-hmm.
quickly. Remember, is when we get up in the morning, we should not drink anything until we've rinsed out our mouth. Because our mouth and our heart are closely linked with health. And what's happening in our mouth can show up in our hearts. And so it's really important to just rinse your mouth out or brush your tongue before you drink a glass of water or drink your coffee or whatever you do. That's one little thing. And another little thing that I've just found so valuable is how to tell if a food is a junk food. Because, there's so many foods out there. I mean, when we made our good fat bars, we looked at thousands of bars, and most of them, and smoothies and those things, most of them are junk food, are food that's not good nutrition. And a good rule of thumb to know that is that the ratio of carbs to fiber should be 10 carbs to 1 fiber. So if a food says it's got 20 carbs in it, it should have at least 2 grams of fiber. And if it does, it's not a junk food.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. So Monica's coming back to that water thing in the morning, and she's saying, even before drinking water. So yes, Monica. So in the morning you wake up, during the night we're doing all this detoxing and rebuilding, and all of that is gathered in our mouth. What we're detoxing is coming through our skin, and it's also in our mouth. And if you drink water, you're just flushing all that detox down into your digestive system, and it can be linked to your heart. So do you want to talk a little bit more about that, Sherri?
Oh, yeah. So it's just there's so much research that shows that how we care for our mouth translates to the health of our heart. And so it's just another thing that you can do. Just so get up in the morning, rinse your mouth out before you drink anything, and there's lots of things that say drink a glass of water when you first wake up. Well, just rinse your mouth out first before you do that, or use a little tongue. There's the tongue cleansers. There's lots of easy things to do, but it's a little thing.
Have you tried that tongue cleanser?
Oh, yeah, I love it.
Do you like it?
I do.
Oh, it
Yeah.
scares me when I look at it, so I'll try one.
It's just a quick little 5-second thing, and then you rinse your mouth out. And
Oh, cool. Okay.
I like things that are quick and easy and effective and highly leveraged, right? For results.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. So we're getting out of time here. This has been so much fun. I hate to let you go because I'm enjoying it so much. But you have a wonderful gift for us, and you have a gift of you have a podcast. Let's start with the podcast.
I do have a podcast, and it's another one of those things where I never dreamed of having a podcast. It just all of a sudden the voice said, have a podcast is another way to really, it's twofold. It's a way for me to share all the beautiful, wonderful things that people are doing with others. Right. So as I'm looking for things I'm needing to find to help me, we like to call it live my good fat life. Right. And as I'm meeting so many wonderful people that are doing such amazing things. And so it allows me the platform to let them tell their stories.
Oh, beautiful.
So there's that.
Yeah. The episode you have is with Dr. Sean Duperron, and you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, it's Dr. Sean Duperron, and the gift is the apology you'll never receive. And it is an incredibly powerful, Dr. Sean is an incredibly powerful speaker. She's won 6 Emmy Awards, and this particular piece of work was nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize. Because it is such a powerful way to step into forgiveness. And it's quick and it's easy and it's highly effective.
Oh, Winna says, I have loved this talk. As I have had Lyme for almost 30 years, I watch my health in all kinds of ways, and this will help me to make it even better. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Blessings to you, Winnie.
Beautiful. So listen to Dr. Sean and the apology you'll never receive, the power of that beautiful message. And so, Sherri, do you have a special message for us as we close today?
I, just start where you are. That's my biggest thing is if you can if there's one thing that you got today or just one tiny little change to make, it's that 1% that makes the difference. So I always like to say, start where we are, and that's okay.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Jonathan says, I have really loved this talk too. I am also very conscious of my health, and this has been so wonderful. So
Thank you.
thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, everyone. Thank you most of all, Sherri,
Oh, thank you for
for,
having
for
me.
bringing your wisdom to share with us. That's more in the physical realm that we need to balance and ground and to stay here. We have to have a healthy, functioning body in order for spirit to be able to work through us.
Because that's how it works, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Thank you. And thank you, Catherine, for all of your beautiful contributions today. I'm just so pleased to have you here supporting us. You are totally awesome, Catherine. Woo for Catherine.
Yeah, thank you.
And Marty says, thank you for all your angel love and wisdom. Wisdom, blessed Sunday to all. So thank you, Marty. So for me, here on the West Coast in the United States, it's still the morning. And it's a beautiful sunny day out. It's a fun day for me, like Dr. Valerie was saying. So I bless you all. I send you all with love. I'm so grateful again, Sherri, for your wisdom, your humor, and you're just so delightful. I just love you. And I pray that those of you who are in still daylight go out and have a beautiful experience of fun today. And those of you who it's time to go to sleep, that you prepare for sleep and ease into it. Find some essential oils, maybe explore the Insight Timer, or just go on YouTube. There's a bazillion yoga nidra meditations on YouTube. And sleep peacefully tonight. So I love you all so much. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.